With the new U.S. tariffs set to take effect on August the 1st, concerns are mounting in the Eastern Cape, especially for the automotive sector. The DA is urging the Premier Oscar Mabuyane to outline a clear plan to protect the province's economy. They are calling for business support measures and engagement with the national government. The DA's Eastern Cape legislature leader, Dr Vicky Knoetze, now joins us for this conversation. Dr Knoetze, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for making time for us this morning. Have you heard anything as yet out of the Eastern Cape government around what they are planning to do once these tariffs kick in, or even when AGOA is up for review in September?
Aldrin, thank you, and good morning to the listeners. Thank you for the opportunity. So first of all, we are currently having our debates in the legislature on the budget votes, and I was able to ask some oral questions to the Premier. Unfortunately, the Premier wasn't here yesterday, but Acting Premier Mvoko then responded to my oral questions in terms of the US tariff increases, which actually kicks in tomorrow. And he said that they have actually created a response plan in the Eastern Cape to mitigate against the effects, to look at the diversification of trade, looking into other markets, and gave some information about what markets they are targeting and are approaching. Unfortunately, this so-called response plan has never seen the light of day in the Eastern Cape legislature. None of the members have seen this document, and he has then actually committed yesterday to give that document to me, but I do not have that document at this time.
Yeah, that's a bit strange because the 1st of August is tomorrow.
Exactly. So we've continuously warned them that the hikes or the increases is actually taking place tomorrow on the 1st of August. What we must just keep in mind is that we've already had a 25% tariff since April, affecting the automotive industry very severely. Mm-hmm. And what essentially happens tomorrow is that 25% goes up to 30%, like the rest of the basket of exports from the Eastern Cape.
Yeah. So what sort of response then should we be seeing now, considering what happens tomorrow? And also the impact that we've seen, for instance, with Lesotho, is that because of the tariff increases, is that there has been a low demand for some of those products coming out of Lesotho. Are you seeing something similar in the Eastern Cape? I know with some vehicle manufacturers at least, they have said that in the first half of 2025, they've seen an 80% decline in orders.
Yes, so basically in terms of the automotive industry, what is impacted is our exports of original equipment manufacturers, which is the vehicles, in the form of VW, Isuzu, and particularly Mercedes-Benz. So they've seen an 82% decline in the first half of 2025. In fact, to put that in actual figures, their exports have gone from over 16,000 to under 3,000 to about 2,800. So there we can already see the impact of the 25% tariff. So from tomorrow, it will be 30%, so that will be much, much more severe. And I just, Aldrin, if we are talking about the impact that it has on the Eastern Cape, and I've continuously said that the Eastern Cape will be the most severely affected province in terms of these tariffs, especially when it comes to the automotive industry. And when I'm talking about the impact, I'm talking about the impact on our economy and our workforce in the Eastern Cape. So it's really important that we take that into context in the Eastern Cape. So first of all, we've got an expanded unemployment rate of 49%. That is nearly half of the working people in the Eastern Cape. Then we just emerged out of a recession in the first quarter of this year before the tariffs came into effect by only 0.1%. And that is the context in which this is now taking place. Then we must also remember that out of everybody working in the automotive industry in South Africa, 30% of the people in that industry is actually in the Eastern Cape. We've got 7,000 people working at Mercedes-Benz in East London alone. Around 40,000 people directly employed in the automotive industry. And that is why we are saying we will be the worst affected province when it comes to these tariffs.
Yeah, the business day this morning is running with an article Plan B to avert the crisis. Government is offering a motor vehicle and agricultural sectors alternative markets and possible treasury-backed incentives. A two-pronged contingency plan to keep production lines humming if the US tariffs at a 30% tariff wall on exports on Friday does come into effect. Is this the right response, do you think?
Well, first of all, let me phrase it this way. When change happens, we are forced to look at other opportunities available to us. So in terms of diversification, that is really one of the only things that we can do in terms of ensuring that we protect our exports, that we protect livelihoods and we protect jobs. So in terms of the Eastern Cape, what it is forcing this province to do is to firstly look at the BRICS countries. Then they are looking at the African continental free trade area, as well as the SADC region, those 16 countries, which means that they will look at boosting exports into Africa, the BRICS countries, as well as the Middle East. They are even exploring options of Switzerland and Ireland because they've got specific programs looking at these exports. So sometimes there are these opportunities that is available, but unless you are really forced to look at what those opportunities are and really explore them, you don't really see them as opportunities. Secondly, in terms of diversification of these exports, what we really need to see as an opportunity now is the electric vehicle market. So in terms of electric vehicles that can be exported, in 2035, we will no longer be able to export internal combustion engines to the EU region, which means that if we can transition now, and 9 years is a short time until 2035, if we can really diversify now, if we can transition into that market, the Eastern Cape can become a hub for electric vehicle manufacturing, not just in South Africa, but for the African continent. So there are opportunities in what is taking place as well.
Yeah, and the tax incentives, do you think that would go a long way?
I believe so. I believe that we can find opportunities in the incentives as well. And I really believe that the way forward is to make sure that we identify real opportunities in terms of other export markets.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the second part of the question was about, mitigating the effects in terms of national treasury. I really don't believe that would be financially sustainable in the long term. But in the short term, it might be able to cushion some of the blow. But in the long term, that is not sustainable. And again, because this is affecting our economy so severely.
All right. And finally, have you seen companies shutting down in the Eastern Cape because of the economic trajectory of the country, perhaps maybe even not the right type of support and infrastructure that is required in the Eastern Cape? Like, for instance, with Goodyear Tire, they're shutting down, the impact that is having on the immediate surrounding communities. Speak to us about that, because at the end of the day, it also has to speak about jobs.
Absolutely, Aldrin. So we have seen, yes, we've seen shutdowns. And we've seen companies struggling, and we can see that they are on a downward trajectory. So first of all, Goodyear is set to shut down at the end of the year. We've already lost 900 jobs there. In November of last year, we actually lost between 700 and 800 jobs at Mercedes-Benz itself. In fact, Mercedes-Benz is currently shut down for an entire month, which is really a red flag and a warning signal that we are on a downward trajectory. And of course, it's very easy to see the effect on the bigger manufacturers like Mercedes and Goodyear. But what we really need to be very vigilant about that and make sure that we monitor it is the component manufacturers and the support industries, that might not be as widely known and observable. But I will tell you that they will suffer a great deal when the original equipment manufacturers are beginning to struggle. So if, say for instance, and we would obviously hate for that to happen, if a place like Mercedes-Benz have to close down in East London, that would be around 9,000 direct jobs lost immediately. I'm not even talking about the knock-on effect of supporting manufacturers and component manufacturers that support that industry. I'm not talking even about indirect jobs. And Eldrin, I said in the legislature yesterday, it is very easy for people to start and keep talking about figures, about unemployment, about the rates of unemployment, about the 49% of expanded unemployment, about the 40,000 people directly working in the motor industry. But if we do not start to see these facts and figures as people, people that are trying to make ends meet, people that are trying to earn a livelihood and take care of their families, it will not spur us to immediate action to make sure that we protect the people of this province and protect their livelihoods.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. Dr. Vicky Knoetze there, who is the Provincial Eastern Cape Legislature lead.